Most brands expanding internationally make their channel decision based on what's easiest to access. Amazon is right there. It's big, it's global, it's familiar. So they list on Amazon, call it international expansion, and wait for the sales to roll on in. And sometimes they do. But here's what they don't see until it's too late. The channel you start with shapes everything that comes after. Your margin structure, your brand perception, your customer relationships, even your leverage. And some channel decisions, once made, are very hard to undo. So before you list anywhere, before you sign any distribution agreement, before you commit to any channel strategy internationally, watch this. We work with a homeware brand that built something genuinely special in the UK. Strong D2C business, loyal customers, beautiful brand, good margins. When they expanded to Germany, they took the path of least resistance. Amazon.de, Amazon Germany, was straightforward. The infrastructure was similar. They were live in weeks. Within a year, they were doing decent volume in Germany. But the margins had halved. The brand was invisible, buried in search results next to cheaper competitors. And when a German retailer approached them about stocking the range, the retailer looked at the Amazon listings and said, "You're already discounted on there. We can't sell you at full price." One channel decision made quickly for convenience. And it locked them into a position that took 2 years to unpick. Let's be clear about what each channel actually means, not just in revenue terms, but in brand and margin terms. Amazon, the appeal is obvious. Massive reach, built-in trust from consumers, logistics infrastructure already in place. You can be live internationally very quickly. But Amazon is a price comparison engine. The algorithm rewards competitive pricing. You're always one click from a cheaper alternative. And once your product is visible on Amazon at a certain price, that price becomes a ceiling for retail conversations, for your own D2C, for everything. Beyond margin, there's the data problem. Amazon owns the customer relationship. You don't know who bought from you. You can't remarket to them. You can't build loyalty. You're building Amazon's ecosystem, not your own. But you already know that. Amazon works, but it works best for brands who understand exactly what they're trading away to use it. Getting into a major retailer in a new market feels like validation, and it is. There's real brand credibility that comes with it. But the economics need to be understood clearly. Wholesale margins are thin. Retailers want exclusivity in some categories. Payment terms are long. And if a range doesn't perform in season, you can face returns or markdown costs that wipe out the profit from the entire run. Retail also requires significant support. Sales, materials, trade, marketing, sometimes a local account manager. The cost of servicing a wholesale channel is often underestimated. Done well, retail builds brand presence at scale in a market. But done badly, it consumes the margin and the management time for years. Your own website, your own customer, your own data. Full margin, full brand control, full relationship. But the challenge internationally is that D2C requires you to build the trust yourself. There's no Amazon halo, no retailer endorsement. You're asking a customer in a new market to find you, believe in you, and buy from you, often with no prior brand awareness. It takes investment, paid acquisition, localized content, local SEO, potential influencer partnerships, and it takes time before the economics stack up. But when it works, when you have a D2C customer base in a new market, it's the most valuable commercial asset you can build. High margins, rich data, direct relationships, compounding organic growth. The question isn't which channel is best. It's which channel is right for what stage of the journey. And the sequencing matters enormously. The worst version, which is what we see constantly, is starting with Amazon because it's easy. Building volume there, then trying to move customers to D2C or into retail at full price. By then, the price anchor is set. The The brand is commoditized. The move is almost impossible to make without a complete rebrand. The best version depends on your brand and your category. But here's a framework that works for most premium consumer brands. Phase 1. Validate with D2C. Before you commit to any channel at scale, test your proposition directly. A localized landing page, targeted paid spend, small volume. You're not trying to build a business yet. You're trying to understand demand, acquisition cost, and conversion in that market. This phase is cheap, fast, and gives you the data you need to make the next decision well. Phase 2. Build D2C as a primary channel. If the validation works, invest in building in a genuine D2C presence. Localized website, adapted content, customer service capability. Build the customer base directly. This is slower than listing on Amazon, but every customer you acquire here belongs to you. You understand them. You can market to them again. You build compounding value. Phase 3. Add retail or wholesale selectively. Once you have D2C traction and proof of demand, approach retail from a position of strength. You're not asking for shelf space, you're offering a brand that already has a proven customer base in the market. And that changes the conversation entirely. Amazon is a consideration only if it fits the brand model. For some brands, particularly those in categories where Amazon is the dominant discovery channel, there's a version of Amazon strategy that works, but it requires strict pricing discipline, a clear strategy for protecting brand positioning, and an understanding that Amazon is a customer acquisition cost, not a margin business. Let's talk about the numbers, because this is where channel decisions become very concrete very quickly. A product retailing at £50 on Amazon, after fees, commission and fulfillment, you're typically netting somewhere between £20 and £28, depending on category, and that's before your cost of goods, which let's say is £12. Contribution somewhere between £8 and £16. On wholesale to a retailer, at a standard 50% margin, you're receiving £25. After cost of goods, contribution of £13, but add in the cost of trade, marketing, account management, and payment terms. The real contribution narrows further. On D2C, at full retail price, after payment processing and fulfillment, you're netting £44. After cost of goods, gross contribution £32. Now, subtract customer acquisition cost in a mature market with strong brand awareness. That might be £8 to £12. In a new market where you're building from scratch, it might even be 20 to 25 in the early months. Even accounting for that, D2C contribution in a market where you've built awareness is typically 2 to 3 times what Amazon delivers. Those D2C numbers assume you can acquire customers at a sustainable cost, which requires brand investment up front. The point isn't that D2C always wins. It's that channel decision is a margin decision, and most brands make it based on speed and convenience, not margin strategy. Back to the Homeware brand in Germany. The recovery took time, but here's what they did. They stopped trying to compete on Amazon. They reduced their SKU presence there to 2 products, their most competitive entry points, and used them as discovery tools, not margin vehicles. They built a German language D2C site with localized content, German customer service, and a returns process designed for German consumer expectations, which are notably higher. They ran a targeted influencer campaign with 3 mid-tier German home and lifestyle creators. Not massive reach, but highly relevant. And it generated the social proof they needed to convert D2C traffic. Within 8 months, D2C was their primary German revenue engine. Margins were back. When they returned to the German retailer conversation, they came with D2C numbers, brand credibility, and a clear pricing position. The retailer stocked them. It took longer than it should have, and the detour through Amazon cost them real money and real time. But the lesson was learned. When they entered France, their next market, they did D2C first, from day one. Here's the channel framework in simple terms. Amazon gives you reach, but takes your margin and your customer relationship. Retail gives you credibility, but takes your margin and your flexibility. D2C gives you margin, data and compounding brand value, but requires upfront investment in trust and acquisition. The right answer is almost never just one of these. Most mature international brands operate across all three in some form, but the order matters. The entry point shapes everything that follows. Start where you can control your brand and understand your customer. Build the economics that give you the leverage to negotiate with every other channel from a position of strength. Then expand outward. In the next video, we're going to talk about something that underpins all of this: your brand. Because here's something that surprises most every founder who expands internationally. The brand that made you successful at home is often not the brand that will make you successful abroad. Not because it's wrong, but because brand identity is contextual. And when the context changes, the market, the culture, the competition, internationalization, your brand has to evolve with it. Most brands don't plan for this, and they pay for it.